Hey, let's make some bread. I've had a bunch of people ask me, hey, show me how you make bread. So I'm gonna show you how I make bread. I have to make 5 loaves actually today. This is Mama. She started last night here after I fed her. So I gotta wipe all that off so I don't get green on my hands. But now she's up to here. She's ready to go. Let's make some bread. I have to make 5, so I know I can get 4 in this bowl, but I've never tried 5, so I'm gonna use 2 bowls and I'm gonna make them at the same time, so that way all the mess is the same. All right, look how pretty she is in there. Ooh, look at that. Oh. Look at that action in there. Can you guys see that? All that bubbling. All right, so I'm gonna tear out my scale. And this one I'm gonna do 3 loaves. I've already washed my hands. So look at all that in there. So I want 300 grams of starter. Oh, I got a little bit too much in there. Let me get some of this out. I have a really strong starter, as you can tell, and it's thick. Okay, that's 290. So I want 300. I think I have enough in here for 6 loaves. Okay. Now I'm gonna do this one. I'm gonna do them at the same time. Tear out my scale. And add, look at those gluten strings in there. Can you guys see those? Look how great that is. Ugh. And it smells so heavenly. I might just make 3 loaves in this too, if I have enough in here. Because we can't run out of bread. Oh, I do have enough for 3 more loaves. So I'm gonna make 6 loaves today. And I still have some in there. All right, so this, part of this will be used for discard, and the other part I will discard. Really, it's not discard, it's unfed starter. It will go in my fridge, and that's why I'll make sourdough cookies, cakes, crackers with this stuff. So good. All right, I'm gonna put that over there. Now I need to add my water. So for 3 loaves, I need 1,050 of water in grams. Oh, I'm making a mess all over the counter. It's so much nicer to do gram weight of everything, because you just have your scale. You don't have to have 100 measuring cups out and spoons, and so there's 1150. I'm gonna have to put more water in my. Or not 1150, 1050. I probably have some other sourdough baker saying, why are you using so much water for? 1,050. Oh, I had just enough. I'm gonna put that in the fridge. Okay, so now this is my dough whisk. So this is what we use. Oh, I didn't take my ring off when I washed my hands. So I'm gonna get this stir this starter in with the water. Get it milky. My starter was floating on the water, which means we're happy and ready to go. So with this, mix this all up today, and then I'll do, this hand doesn't touch the dough, so I'll mix this up today for baking tomorrow, because I don't need it on there. Want to let it ferment. It has to bulk ferment and rise and do all that stuff, to turn into bread. But then, after it's got to that part, we want to put it in the fridge. We want to do a cold retard on it. And what happens there when we do that, that's what makes sourdough good for your belly, is the fermentation time that it goes through. It creates probiotics, and I wish I could name all of the probiotics, but I can't because I don't have those memorized. Okay, all that is mixed up. Now we are going to add the flour. So for 3 loaves of bread, we need 1,500 grams of flour. Tear this back out to 0 and dump. I go through a lot of flour. All right, there's 1,500 flour, and then I'm gonna go ahead and add the salt, and then we use 12 for each one. So I'm gonna put 36 grams of salt. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same with this one. I'm gonna have to open more flour though. Which I was actually prepared. So excited tomorrow, I'm getting a new sink. I can't wait. Share it on Facebook, I'm sure. All right, so now 1,500 grams of bread flour for this one. You'll see why I'm showing you guys both of this at once, because of the messiness that my hands get. I'm a little over. Let's take some of that out. And now the salt. So I make sure I get the salt pretty even over the top, so that way it mixes even. Okay. So now I'm put the scale aside, and I'm going to start mixing. So 2 loaves I can usually do just with the dough whisk, but 3 I got to get my hands in there. Well, and when I make 2 also, I typically will get my hands in there just because I want to make sure all the flour clumps are gone and that everything is mixed perfectly. Because once this is done, once this is mixed, I'm going to cover them. So what I'm doing, I'm making a shaggy dough. I'm going to cover them and then let them sit for an hour, covered up. And then I'm going to, after an hour, come and do my first set of stretch and folds, which will be a series of 4 of those. All right, I'm not going to get my hands in this yet, because I got to get my hands in this one too. So I'll do the hands at the same time. Okay, so let's mix up this one, and then I'll get my hands in there and get icky. There's something about when you mix dough, you guys will see, because I'll show you the whole process today when I do my stretch and folds and stuff. When you mix it, when you get your hands in there, there's something that happens to your brain when you use your hands and not like, you know, clicking on a mouse pad or, you know, playing a video game or being on your phone scrolling. Something about when you're creating with your hands that is just so therapeutic. Same thing when I used to, when I would always crochet, which I have something I have to make right now, crochet. But it's just so, it's so therapeutic. It's like, it's got so much healing in it too. You know, if you're struggling with anything, you know, like depression or anything like that, it's just, it's the best therapy. Beats any drug. Is just to use your hands and create something. All right, I'm gonna get ready to scrape my side down in here to get all the dry bits into the dough. I'll show you guys what it looks like first. It's time to get the hands. But I hate my hands being icky. Isn't that something? But when I do my stretch and folds, my hands aren't really icky. The dough is just like, it's magical. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just magical. Okay. So that's what it looks like right now. But I'm going to get all the dry off of the sides and then make sure that every bit of that flour is incorporated to the starter. So that way the starter can start doing its thing in there. Push my bracelet up. I have to use, I don't like using stainless steel bowl. I don't know. One, when I do my stretch and folds, it doesn't hold. This bowl right here, this was my mom's bowl. So this is my bread bowl that I always use. I love it. I just love that, you know, I'm using something of my mom's. This little island that I'm working on, this was my mom's. So I feel like she's in the kitchen with me all the time. So all I'm doing is squeezing and making sure I can feel some dry bits in there. So I'm making sure that there are no dry bits. And this is a really good arm workout too, I'm telling you. And just watching how the dough changes from this, you know, through the whole process, and then it ends up, it turns into, it's just this beautiful, smooth ball of dough that you end up putting in the fridge, and then it turns into a beautiful loaf of bread that feed people and make people happy. So that makes me happy. All right, let's scrape this off so I can do the, well, while I'm in this bowl, I'll fix this so you can see that. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I hope you guys are like, sourdough, people are like, it's a lot of work. Oh, it's so time consuming. Well, it's time consuming. However, the time that it takes, the first 2.5 hours, you need to be around. Because you have to do this. You have to prepare the dough. Then in an hour, check it. And then for the next 1.5 hours, there's my shaggy dough, this one. For the next 1.5 hours, then you are every 30 minutes, well, for 2 hours, but the last one, you're actually putting it in the container to let it sit. So for the next 30 minutes, after that, you're going to do stretch and folds. You're going to do stretch and folds 4 times. So my time for proofing for the bulk ferment started once you mix it, once you put it together, we'll dump the starter into the water. That's when your timer starts. So I started at 1, but then I'll wait. That's when my time starts. But as soon as I'm done with all of this, I'll let it sit for an hour, and I'll be going by 1:15. So I'll come back at 2:15, and I'll do my first set of stretch and folds. And then, see, I can feel a lot of dry flour clumps in there. That's why you need to use your hands so you can feel it, because with the dough hook, you just can't feel it. Or, no, what's it called? It's called a Danish whisk. That's what that funny looking thing. So like I feel really dry, and then there's areas that it's really wet. This is my least favorite part, besides washing the utensils. Just because I don't like my hands to feel like this. Isn't that crazy? I was never one to play in the mud. But all the next ones, I love the way my hands feel in it. Just because the dough changes so much. So, let's see. That's still got a lot of wet right there. A lot of people don't mix it this much. They make it just that first shaggy dough that I showed you, and then they set it aside. But I have found to make sure that all the dry bits are not dry bits anymore. So that's what I do here. Okay. I was going to tell you something else, and now I forgot. Oh, the cleaning up. I said this, and the cleaning is the part I hate the most. Because all this stuff right here, you cannot let it go down your drain. Everything you do with sourdough, you don't want this to go down your drain, because it will turn to cement. Like if it's in my sink, if I splatter some in my sink, it just turns hard as a rock, like a brick, like cement. It really does. So that is the worst part, is the cleanup, because you have to like strain out. So I have the thing I use to pour my water in. That's where I stick everything, and then all of this will float to the bottom, and that's when I'll clean it up later. So there's bowl number 2. So I'm going to cover these up, and then I'll be back in 1 hour. Okay, time for stretch and folds. I love stretch and folds. My hands are clean. However, I'm going to get them damp, because here's what the dough looks like right now. So, oh my God, that smells so good. It's a little different than shaggy, because it's starting to do its magic with the gluten. So I'm going to get my hands wet, because here is it without my hands wet. So if I get my hands wet, you'll see the difference it makes. I have my bowl of water in the sink ready for me to get my hands wet. So see now. So stretch and fold, you go in and you stretch and fold. I love this part. And you get the smell, oh my gosh, of, you know, when you get the fresh bread. Stretch and fold. It smells just, I wouldn't say like sour. It smells just like sweet yum. This is my favorite part. So you can see now how much that's already getting strong just from those few turns. So now it's going to get covered for 30 more minutes so it can relax. So see the difference, how that is now. So I'm going to do the same with this one. So see, look at the difference there from start. Big difference. And after, when you guys see the 4th stretch and fold, you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Well, if you love bread, if you love baking, and you know, if you love the change of the creations, you'll think it's amazing. This is why I don't like using the stainless. The bowl picks up on me. Stretch, fold it over. You see the difference there? Stretch, fold. Stretch. It's getting to where it's not wanting to give me much stretch. So, and I did take the temperature of my dough, and it was at 75 degrees. So I'll temp it every stretch and fold to see what it is, because that makes a difference on how long your bulk fermentation on the counter is going to last. Doesn't have anything to do with how long it's going to be in the refrigerator, but it has to do with how long it's going to be on the counter, because we don't want it to overproof and we don't want it to underproof. So see, that's how fast the stretch and folds are. And if I only had, just the one bowl, you saw how fast that was. So, doing sourdough takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of time. So this first 2.5 hours is a lot. Well, you have to check it every 30 minutes after that. So I'm down to 72 degrees. Let's see if they're both the same. But once then I'm done with the stretch and folds, it's going to just sit and I don't do anything with it. And then when I pre-shape it and stuff, it goes in the fridge. So this, what did I say this was? 72? This one's 73.2. This one's 72. So this one is 1 degree warmer. So I will be back in 30 minutes. Okay, we're going to bake a loaf of bread now. So this is dough that I made, let's see, Friday, Wednesday. So it was made Wednesday, and it went in the fridge Wednesday night. So it's been in the tea towel. It's lovely. I'm going to actually, in case I need to do any shaping, sprinkle a little bit of rice flour. So we use rice flour, because if I used regular flour, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of the gluten properties being, taken care of. So we use rice flour because it does not have that. Look at that pretty loaf of bread. So I think I'm going to, do I want to make a design? I think I'm going to make a design, maybe. So I'm going to spray this with water, because I want to put the rice flour to stick to it. Let me use this towel. Don't need too much water. Okay. And then this is how we get, that white to show when the cut is there. Why you see white sometimes. I don't do this very often, putting flour on. Usually I just let it be the rustic. Look, this loaf is for me, so, because I'm about out. It's my last loaf I had in the fridge. So let's design it. So we just use razor blades. That's it. Razor blades. And I think I'm going to make this one just be across. And then I'll go deeper after I do my little designs on here. So then, let's see. I'll just do simple, simple. So we have to make a big score in it, because it has to, the steam has to escape. So if I didn't score it, if I just put it in there, actually I should do that as a test one time. If I just put it in the oven without putting any marks on it, it would make its own score. So it would explode. It would do whatever it wanted to do. It would break and rip wherever it wanted to break and rip, because the steam has to get out of the bread when it's baking. So this is my deep score, is this cross. And then the other is just a little decoration, and it will just, those will just pop up a little bit. So I'm just going to do this. Usually I don't do this for a plain loaf. I usually do this one for my jalapeno cheddars. Okay. And then I get the tip too, so that way that will help it to pop when it's in the oven. So let's see. So there it is. And now I'm going to get the Dutch oven has been preheating for about, I don't know, 45 minutes maybe in the oven to get up to temperature. Because the Dutch oven, you know, is the oven for the bread. So we put it in here, drop it in. Just move my parchment paper out of the way a little bit. And I'm going to throw my lid on and then put it in the oven. I'll show it to you when I take the lid off. Okay, the lid is off now for the remainder of the bake so it can brown up and get up to temperature. Back in the oven. That sure looks and smells good. Okay, it's temp check time. This is why I always burn myself. It needs to be between 205 and 210. We're looking good. Time to come out. Oh, this is going to be good. Okay, I did the third set of stretch and fold, or the second set without y'all. Look how smooth that looks. And just wait till we're done here. Here, I just got my hands wet and then just dried them. All right, so there's a much different consistency now. It's smooth. There's no lumps, no shaggy dough. This is why I hate using metal, stainless steel. The bowl just picks up, so I'll do one hand here. So stretch, fold, stretch and fold. Okay, so that's my third one. Oh, I want to check my dough temp. It's been running right at 70. Let's do this one. See, look how lovely that is. Ugh. See, when the bowl doesn't pick up, how big of a stretch I can get out of that. This is so lovely. I just love playing in the dough. Adult slime. That's what we got going on here. Adult slime. But this turns into something better than a mess on your carpet, that's for sure. So, because I was able to stretch that one up so high, it doesn't have much give. So we're at 72.1. See, look at it now. Let's see if I can get one more. All right, let's see. 72.1 in that one, and this one's probably 71.1 because it's been running a degree lower. 71.2. Okay, I will be back for the last, and this is where I do coil folds. I love coil folds. Okay, we are on the last duty before it rests. So the dough has been 75 or 72 degrees. So between 72 and 75, we want it to rise 75%. Because when it goes in the refrigerator, it's going to continue to rise. This one's 72. So, which means it's going to take 8 to 12 hours. However, that's just a guideline. Let me rinse my hands since I just touched my hair. That's just a guideline because you're really supposed to watch the dough, not the clock. So I'm going to do my coil folds. They're my favorite. First, I'm going to do 2 stretch and folds, and then I'm going to do my coil folds. And they're my absolute favorite. The way the dough changes, maybe I'll do 3 of these to get it to release. Okay, so the coil folds are just gentle. So you just do this, set it down, pick it back up. Okay, look at the shape of that. And then when I'm done with this, it's gonna be so smooth. I'm a little sticky and put my hand in water again. So because of the weather, because it's cruddy outside and it's humid, I will watch my dough really close because it's not going to take 8 hours. And when I say 8 hours, that's 8 hours from when I first mixed it. That's when the clock starts. And I mixed it at 1:15. So that would be 9:15. I'm thinking this is probably going to be done around 8 though. Okay, so this one is about done. Look at the difference in that. See how smooth that is? So this, I use these to measure. This is not the right one. I use these to measure. That I know is where three loaves start. And then I put my temperature and all that on here. So this way, because I can't see in a bowl how much it's raised because it's a bowl. When I first started doing it, I was doing it in a bowl, and then I realized we have some of these Cambros, and then I got these round ones because I like round better than square. I still have the square ones for when I do 4 loaves because this won't hold 3. Actually, my line's up a little too high, I think. But so this is what it looks like. How nice and smooth that is in there. So these are going to sit. Oh, let me see what the temp is on this one. This one's been 1 degree lower than that one the whole time, which 1 degree is not that big of a deal. Yep, it's still 1 degree lower. Well, I'll do my stretch and fold first. So the stretching and folding, that's just tightening, getting your gluten stronger. So now we're gonna coil fold. So we just kind of let it hang. It's just a much gentler way. And I like to finish it off this way. And also when I do my pre-shaping, when I take the dough out of these, I will do this also before I pre-shape. Sometimes I forget though. I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot my coil fold. That's not a have to. That's just a preference of mine because I enjoy it. And look, you can already see some air bubbles coming up on that. Ugh. If you guys could feel this, it's just amazing. It's just lovely. I just love it. Whenever Pat's home, I'm always like, oh, my dough feels great. And of course, he sits out there and says, oh, goody. Because that's Pat. So this one is going to go in its container. And then see, after all that mess, there's hardly anything in there. And that's it. Yeah, the lines are right. Because I typically know what the dough is before it rises because you're supposed to do the measurement before, but I don't like doing stretch and folds inside these because they're too narrow. So you guys will see me again in, what time is it, 3:42? 5 hours, probably. About 5 hours. I'm off to a ball game in the nasty weather. All right, I'm back. We are at the line. Jiggling in there. So we only want 75% rise because of how warm it is. Oh, crap. Look at that. Because of how warm it is, it's going to take that long to cool off in the refrigerator, and until it's cooled all the way down, it's going to continue to proof and get bigger. This erasable stuff is not easy to get off. So Lauren's ball game, they lost in 8 innings. It was a bummer. She had a triple tonight. It was awesome. All right, so this is what I do. I'm going to get my counter wet. So I don't use flour. I find it's better to use water. And I'm only going to show you guys one of these because both of them will be the same. I'm going to do 2 large ones. So it's better to let it come out naturally and just have a natural fallout. Look at all those bubbles in there. So I'm gonna make 2 full-size loaves out of this and then 2 minis. But this is only our pre-shape. So then it's gonna sit on the counter for an hour. So it's still proofing. That's why we stop it at 75 and we dump it. So it's coming out. You can see it release in there. Here it comes. This is like some of my most satisfying parts, watching it plop. Watching the big release. Nice and clean in there. Just a little bit of stuck on the side. I'm not used to using dough that's this cool. Usually my dough's about almost 80 degrees. So now I'm going to measure it, weigh it, and they are going to be 950. Don't tell me error. Except for the minis, they will be $4.75. I think I got my scale going crazy. All right, so I'm just gonna eyeball. Look how pretty that dough is. Let's see. Oh, it feels so good too. So that is 800 and I need 100 more grams on there. Let's see what that is. That was 200 more. 996. So I want them to be the same because for one, I know when I'm cooking, you know, when I'm baking them, the time. All right, 9:52, close enough. So it's gonna turn out here for a minute while I measure the other ones. See, doesn't this look fun? I just love it. Look at that big old bubble. So this is 880. I think that's too much. 952. Perfect. Pop that out. Now I'm going to split these two for 2 minis. So these need to be $4.75 each. $4.50. Let's see if I got all my weight right. 80. Okay, let's see if this one, if all my weight went right. Those two might be a tad over 50. The 950. Nope, I'm good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna pre-shape these. Let me wash my hands. It's like my hair keeps getting in my face. We're gonna pre-shape these. So this is where I do these little coil folds. Kind of just deal with the gluten a little bit. These are the minis. I love making the minis. They're so fun to make. Well, I like making the big ones too. I just like baking. I whipped up, after Lauren's ball game, I whipped up a bunch of sourdough cookies that I'm gonna bake off tomorrow. And then we roll it. We push and pull. And that's just building tension. And then just gonna plop that over there. It's gonna be there for an hour. Same here. Actually, I'm gonna move my scale. I have all my bowls out ready for all these because I'm doing, what is it? Three large loaves, and look at that big bubble on there. 3 large loaves and 4 minis. So I'm going to do 2 plain minis. I might do 3 plain minis, and then I'm doing myself a raisin, because I just love the raisin. Oh my God, they're so good. I typically don't put cinnamon in, but I might put cinnamon in the raisin today. So, okay. If you guys could hear, you probably can't hear the bubbles popping on that. Okay, so that's the pre-shape. When I come back, these are going to be really spread out here. So you can see how the dough changes. It really is just fun to sit and see all the changes happening. I'll show you I'm going to pick that other one up so you can see it. So the pre-shapes are not perfect. And then we're going to let them rest. But here I want you to look at that one that I did, the first one. Look at all those bubbles. That's yummy sourdough. Okay, I'll just tighten that up a little bit. Okay, I'm going to do the other ones, and then I will come back. Yeah. These right here, they're ready to go too. I'll do those exactly the same way and then come back 45 minutes. It depends on how big they are getting. If they're like really going crazy, I will stop it at 45 minutes. 30 minutes to 45 instead of an hour. Bye. Okay. Look how big they got. I have the other ones are over there on that counter. Pull my hair back. So this is the least amount of inclusions I've ever had to do. I'm only doing, all these are plain. I've never had that many plain to do at one time. So we have the dough. So here we go. Pick it up and we flip it over. Stretch it out. Because this one doesn't have inclusions, this one's going to be really fast. And then we hold it down, fold it down. Some big bubbles there. Get those out. So we don't need those in the bread. We don't need those big holes. Not all of them, just some of them. And then we roll it up. Pinch it. Fold it over. And now this is where we make our tension. You can hear this. You probably can't hear the music in Pat's TV. It's squeaking. The little air bubbles are popping. So I'm getting tension underneath. You see me tucking my fingers under there. So now I have my bowl ready. There's rice flour in there. I didn't have this ready. I'm gonna put just a little bit of rice flour on the top. I don't need much because it's in there already. Put that on and flip it. Now that's gonna set because you can see it's starting, how it is opening up from when I flipped it in there. So after I do these, then I'm gonna show you how I stitch them up together. I think I can leave that one there. Same thing. Just to love the feel of this. If you want to make sourdough, just do it. When I first started doing it, it was like, oh my gosh, I felt like I was in the kitchen all the time, trying to figure out the timing of everything I do. But now, I know when to feed my starter at night. I know what to do with it in the day. I know when I can, when to start it, in the daytime. Because when your starter comes to peak, because of the ratio I feed mine, I have a couple hours window of when I can mix it. So, but when I first started and I did feel like, oh my gosh, this is, but when you get your rhythm down and you know your dough and you know your starter, then it's easy. Move those over here. Okay, and that one's already floured. Flour that one. I want to show you the inclusion I'm going to do. So when I do inclusions, this is the time that you do the inclusions. So if I were doing an inclusion on this, I would be making it a lot bigger. So I do a lot of jalapeno cheddar, but I'm going to show you on a little one, raisin for myself, because I love the raisin ones. They're so good. So I'm going to tuck this under, and now I'm making it tight underneath, and on the top, I should show you this one. So you want a tight skin on the top, and not too tight, otherwise it'll rip. And then it'll make you sad. I've had them rip before, and it's just so disheartening when you work so hard. So see how nice and tight that is on there. So let's see, like, look at that one, how much it's opened up. So I'll show you what we're gonna do for that. Now, let's get this mini one done. This is just a mini plain, because I'm not gonna show you the other ones that I've got moved over there. So see how much tinier this one is? I love the minis. They're just so cute. Push it down, fold it over. I mean, so you have to do the same amount of work for a mini. It's just a mini. Roll it up. And I use these bowls now, so that way I can stack them in the refrigerator. See, look how cute that little thing is. So cute. So we have littler bowls for these. I didn't have flour in this one yet. And this is rice flour again, because rice flour has no gluten in it. Okay. Now, this one is going to have the inclusions in it. This is the one I'm going to make with raisins, so I'm going to really stretch it out, well, as much as I can for a little mini. And I'm going to do this one different than I have. I used to do a fold, fill it up, fold it over, put more, fold it over. But I'm going to do it more like I saw where somebody rolled it like a cinnamon roll. So I'm going to do that different, because I think I'll get, the inclusions will be more spread out. And we'll find out after I bake it and cut it, if that's the case. So really putting a lot of raisins on here, because I want there to be a raisin in every bite. Because why not, right? Drop one on the floor. I think I'll save just a few for... All right, so this one I'm going to do a little different than I usually do. So I'm going to roll it like this. Oh, I think I'm going to like this. And then, so here, so now it's all rolled in there. Let's see what we got left in here. Come on, we want every last raisin. There we go. So here we go. And then we're going to roll this one up. And I'm going to squeeze these sides together so those raisins don't fall out. Oop. Problem with long fingernails. Okay. Can you guys see all those raisins in there? Ooh, yummy, yum, yum. And this one doesn't have flour in it. Okay. All right, now I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you all of them, but how I stitch them up. Because this was the first one we did. Yeah, this one was, I think. Well, they all need it, so you can see how it's not tight in there anymore. So I'm going to take and pull and hold it, and then just turn my bowl. So I'm grabbing the dough and just putting it, stitching it up, just giving it that little more tension. Now when you have inclusions, like when I do the jalapeno poppers and cheddar, I cannot pull it this tight because they'll bust through the dough. But the plain ones, you can get a really good tension on there. And then just hold it. And once you do this, then it's gonna stay. Then I'm gonna cover these, put the lid on, stack them in the fridge, bake them tomorrow. Thanks for watching today. All right. Oh, got my shades on. Back from the ball game. We have bread to bake now. All that I did yesterday, I'm gonna bake. So I'm gonna do the mini one first. Well, I'm gonna do a mini and a large, so I'm gonna have 4 different loads because I can do a mini and a large in the same one. Here is the raisin one. So, oh, hang on. Put a little rice flour on it in case I have to move it around on my paper. Turn it out. Pick it up. Now, I'll show you guys how I'm going to score it. I'll turn this down so you can see. Minis are my favorite ones to do. There we go. Okay, Jacob's sitting over here laughing at me because that tipped over. Okay, there we go. Hey, real life in the Herbert house, right? All right, this one, I like to do my little minis and my cinnamon. I like to do a little circle. So I'll be checking this at like 10 minutes in to bake to see if I need to deepen the score at all to make it pop, because I want it to pop up. So Jacob's here to put in my new sink, so I'm excited. I'll show you guys my old sink, and then you'll get to see when he puts the new one in. And then I'm going to give it a one over here on the side, because there are no raisins right there. Look at all those raisins there. Really couldn't get in there because it's a big clump of raisins right there. All right. So the little ones, I bought these little cake pans to help them push up when they're cooking, because I want them to stay, you know, I want them to go tall. But I've been taking it out of the cake pan after about, I think that's all the way in there. So just put that down. I've been taking it out of the cake pan about 10 minutes in. I'm just using an old, what are these called? Roasting pan. Well, this was actually an old insert from a cooker. Because you don't have to cook in a Dutch oven. I wish I had known that before I went and bought a Dutch oven, that I could have just used one of these pans. I mean, a Dutch oven holds the heat better. So this one's ready to go. But I'm not going to open the oven up until I do the other one. So now I'm going to do the regular loaf. And here it is. See, it's come up. It's nice and bigger. There's a big bubble there. I'm gonna get rid of that because we don't need that bubble on the bottom. It's that means it's ready to bake. When it dimples in and then slowly comes back up. This is some good dough. So I'm gonna sprinkle a little bit of Roxy Hush. Oh darn, the mailman's out there. Across the street, not even over here. She don't like that mail truck. So I'm gonna turn this one out. Oh, so pretty. I think on this one, Roxy, come here. Come. Sit down. Sit down. You be quiet. I think I'm gonna do a heart on this one. I like doing my hearts. You know, you don't have to do anything fancy. You can just do a line. But I've learned how to, you know, do it, so I like doing it. And I like the bread that I either sell or bless people with. I like them to look pretty. But sometimes they just, you know, have a line or a cross in them. So I'm going to drag that down there. Okay, so here's my little cross. And now we have to have, if you remember from me telling you yesterday, we have to have a deep score so it doesn't rip. So I'm going to do the deep score right next to it. So that's, the heart's going to end up popping up. Get that in there really good. Get right under the edge. There we go. So I'm going to put this, I'm going to put that in the Dutch oven. Get them both in the oven, and I will come back and show you guys when I rescore that small one so you can see it. Sometimes I rescore it also. It just depends on if I'm happy. Nope, this one's not needing nothing. It's not needing no help. Back in the oven now for 20 minutes, and then come and take the lid off this one. Leave the lid on that because I don't want my raisins burnt, and let it finish cooking. Okay, temperature check time. Oh, this one looks beautiful. I'm sure it is plenty done. Let's see. So you can see. It's supposed to be between 205 and 210. So that looks good. I'm gonna check the little one. I'm gonna have to take the lid off, I think, for a few minutes to brown it up. Yeah, I'm gonna brown that up now just a little bit. I'm sure it's done. But I want it a little brown. Okay. There's the cinnamon raisin that y'all baked with me. And there's one of the plains. And that bad boy looks good. Look at that big fat belly on there. Look at that. Love, love, love. Love it.
Dad, you might want to fill the top of your bag.
So I'm going to do the other 6 loaves, and then I will show you guys at the end all 8 of the loaves that you made with me.
Do we need a drum roll?
I'll drum roll you.
Oh, let me look.
Ooh.
The flame looks good. Why are you smushing it? I want to smush it. Can I smush it, Mom?
Okay, it's been a day. Woohoo! It's been a day. 8 loaves of bread done. While my sink was getting put in too. Made for a really hot oven. Here, you guys, these are all the loaves of bread that we made yesterday that y'all watched me make, that you made with me. Let's see. How can I get a good shot? There's that raisin. Then the plains. There they all are. They look lovely. Nice and high. Good bones. Hey, thanks for going on the sourdough journey. I got a little sun today, too, at the ball field, I think. Until the next loaf of bread. See y'all later.